And online friends, welcome. We're going to start out in child's pose. So when you're ready, just take yourself to a tabletop and then just drop your sit bones back towards your heels. You can take your knees a little wider, tops of the feet to the ground, big toes draw together, and just relax the weight of your forehead, your arms. And just take your air all the way down to empty, releasing, exhaling completely. Breathe into your low belly, your low back. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Take your air all the way to your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Hold the full breath and relax around it. And then like you're quieting a child on the exhale, and then start your ujjayi breathing, so inhaling through the nose like you're sipping the air in. And slow, long exhales through your nose like you're fogging up a mirror. And I want you to keep this breath going. And let your mind focus and dial in on the movement of the breath, the sound of the breath, and the feel of the breath. And it's our reminder just to come back into the here and now as the mind wanders into the future or wanders back into the past. As we practice mindfulness, as we practice getting back into the here, getting back into the now, that's where we're able to center. That's where we're able to ground. So let your breath be your guide, and then just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. On your next inhale, just rise up into a tabletop position and then start to work into cat and cow, moving slowly and thoughtfully through your spine, through your hips, and through your shoulders. You could breathe into cow, opening through the chest. You could exhale into your cats around your back, or you can spend a little more time in one before you move on into the next. And then you can also add any side-to-side movement or back and forth movement that feels good to you. And just allowing your breath to lead the way here. Wrap up the round that you're on. Come into a neutral flat back, hands and knees. And once you're there, just to warm up your wrists, turn the insides of your wrists forward. Palms are down, your thumbs point to the side. And then to the degree that it feels good for you, you could lean forward and backwards. You could lean left and right. If you're choosing to lean forward and backwards, you might pull the hands off the mat, lifting to your fingertips, and then just gently roll back forward so you're getting into the circle of the palm as well as your fingers. If you want, the back of the hands could press gently down to the ground, just giving a little bit of massage. And then hero's pose is a great pose to land for a couple rounds of breath, taking your sit bones to your heels, knees together, tops of the feet to the ground as you just give a roll out through your wrists. Excellent, friends. Come onto your mat into a plank position. So have your hands underneath your shoulders. Step the toes to the back. Hips are right up on level. And then staying on your toes or coming down to your knees with your ankles crossed, just take some slow motion yoga push-ups. So exhales that bring you halfway down, leading with your sternum. And then inhales that lift you back up. Avoid bending the hips. Use the full length of your breath right here. And then the next one that you take will lower all the way down to the ground and set up our low cobra. Tops of the feet rooted, palms slide down. Finding that lift of your chest off the ground, shoulder blades toned in, shoulder heads down away from the ears on the back. And it's not so much that you're pressing into your hands to push yourself off. We're finding more of that lift just through our core muscles and just through the back muscles. Nice. Take one more breath in right here on that low cobra. And as you exhale, you can release the chest down and then make your way to down dog, either through plank or through your tabletop. And take that the first few rounds of breath inside a down dog just to loosen things up. So maybe you're walking the dog out, letting one heel pull towards the earth as the other knee bends. Or one shoulder dips slightly lower, or your hip shifts a little bit to the side. And then find the structure of the pose from the hands and the fingers, so spreading out into the palms, gripping through the fingers. Feel those biceps taking that spin in towards center line like you're holding a beach ball between your arms. Micro bend into your elbows, and then start to lift the hips up back and tall in space, pulling with those core muscles. Feel the heels gently drawing down from that lift of the hips back and up in space. Bringing breath into it. On an exhale, just bend the knees, look between your hands, take your step up to your forward fold at the top of your mat. And upon arriving, inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, pressing hands to shins, slight bend in knees, and then toning your shoulder blades in towards one another like there's a pencil between them. Finding that length through the back of your neck, so gaze is down, chin is slightly back in towards your throat. And then from that spine strengthening pose, on an exhale, just let it all melt forward. And you can relax your fingertips, your fists, or your palms to the ground as you just work on some slow nod yes with the head, or some slow side to side nods no with the head. If you'd like to grow this movement, you could interlace the hands and create, or interlace opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep and create that ragdoll frame. And with the weight of your head just nice and heavy, start to gently sway side to side or rock back and forth. And then we'll bring your right hand down to the center, just underneath your chest. You can do your fist, fingers, or your palm. And then you'll bend into your right knee as you push down into the left leg and reach your left arm up super tall in space. And as you reach the left arm up tall, your gaze can go over to the left. We want to feel those shoulder blades gently pulling together. Your chest is opening right here. And then as you press down into that left leg, as you extend down into it, you want to feel just along the back edge of it, the back outside edge of the leg, that your feet getting that stretch down into it. That, of course, goes all the way up into your hip. You can feel it all the way into your back. And on an exhale, just let that left hand come down. It will replace your right. Using fist, palm, fingertips, or if you got a block, that works as well. Awesome. And now you'll raise your right arm up when you're ready. Bend into your left knee and just extend down into that right leg and find your breath. Take a deep breath into it, and when then your next exhale comes, let it all fold forward. Feet can be at hip bone distance, or you can bring big toes to touch with some space between the heels. Vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly roll up to standing. You want to let your head and arms be heavy. And at the very end, as your neck rolls up, press to the ground. Inhale to reach your arms tall in space, full lengthening to Tadasana, mountain pose. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center to Samasthiti. Inhale to reach and extend your arms back up tall in space. Breathe into it. And on the exhale, come back into Utkatasana, chair pose. And so take the weight backwards down so you're sitting back into that chair. You're down into your heels. Feel a little bit of a grip down into the earth through your feet. And then find the strength of lower legs and upper legs so you're supporting that weight into your knees, not dropping the weight into your knees. And then you could cactus your arms out. You could have them lengthened up in space. We just want to feel the shoulder blades gently toned together behind us, helping to lift up through the heart here. Nice. Take one more breath into it. And then when your exhale comes, you can just hinge out and swan dive forward down to that Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Just one inhale this time. And then you can plant the hands, step back to your plank. And your choice of how you want to get to down dog. You could exhale halfway to Chaturanga. You could take another low cobra or upward facing dog. If you're not familiar with up dog, we're pressing to the tops of the feet into the hands, where the weight of the hips is suspended in space. And then eventually we make our way to down dog. And of course, you can always skip all of that and go directly from your plank back to your down dog. On your next exhale, just lower back down onto our tabletop from down dog, hands and knees. And then we'll take the right leg and reach it backwards in space. We'll take the left leg and reach it backwards in space. Press back through your left heel. And then reach and extend your right arm forward. So pinky down, thumb up. And this is a teeter-totter at tabletop. So if that left hand is out in front of your shoulder, you want that left hand directly underneath your shoulder to press into and let the bicep hug into. And on your exhale, let's curl inwards. Bring the right elbow in, the left knee in. And on your inhale, open back up. Take that again. So on an exhale, round the back, bring it in. Inhale, open back up. Leave your left leg extended. Exhale brings your right hand down to the ground. And then tuck the right toes, and we're going to lift back up to a three-legged downward facing dog with your left leg extending back up tall. Press through your left heel. The front of your left hip is pointing down and back. You could also press through the ball of the foot if you want with that left leg. Find the strength in your right hip, so watch that you're not sinking down into it and kind of tilting to the right, but that you're as you are pressing down through the ball of the foot, reaching back through your heel. We're finding that lift out of the right hip. On your exhale, friends, just step your left foot up in between your hands. Perfect. And then we're going to take this into our warrior two. So drop the knife edge of the right foot down to the ground and just reach and switch your right arm backwards in space and left arm is forwards. Awesome. And as we root down into that back right foot, you can feel your heels are in one line, and you're just opening forward through the left arm, opening backwards through your right arm. Left sit bone is tucked underneath your body. Spine's up nice and tall. And just stay with your breathing. As you press down into the knife edge of the foot, you feel that tone in your back right leg. Your thighs are toned into center line. And then on your exhale, take it to your extended side angle pose. So hinge forward, bring your left forearm to your left thigh. Your right arm can reach straight up in space or can pull out on a diagonal from your back right leg. And if your right hip popped back up behind you, just come into your lunge with your right hip on level with your left hip. Find that lift through your inner left side body. Awesome. Inhale, come back up into your warrior two. And as you exhale, just reverse your warrior. You can bring your right hand to your hip or to your thigh or wrapped behind you. Left arm reaches up nice and tall in space. You can bend into your left elbow so your fingers reach back behind you. Your gaze could turn up to the sky or go over to the right or go back down to your right foot. And if you find yourself lifting out of your lunge, just press back into your lunge. Bring your knee right back over your heel. So you're getting deep into the lunge and then lifting up through your arm and making that big stretch from your left hip crease up your left side body up through the rib cage here. Beautiful, friends. On an exhale, cartwheel your hands down to frame your left foot. Turn onto the ball of your right so you're in a low lunge position. And then we'll take it into standing splits. So stand up on the left leg, your right leg lifts. Release the weight of your head so you're looking back behind you. And then start to press into your fingertips, your fists, or your palms as if you were doing a handstand. So that kind of downwards motion through your arms, that type of engagement through your hands. And as you're pressing down into the ground, feeling that push into the floor through your upper body strength, through your core, drawing back up through the right leg at the same time. You can always give your head a little side-to-side nod, no, just to release the weight of it. Take one more inhale to lift the right leg up, and on your exhale, just bring your right knee to touch your left knee. Let your thighs press together, and then start to come into a one-legged chair. This is praying monkey. So you're going to bring your hands up to your heart center, and then your right knee is bent, so your right heel is pulling up to your sit bone, and then you're flexing the right toes back down behind you. And the knees and the thighs are all pressed together at center line right here. Hands are right into your heart center. Shoulder blades are feeling that little bit of a tone behind you, just so we're not rounding and caving in. We're lifting up. And feel that strength, that heat we're creating in your left leg. And when you're ready, friends, you kick us back into your Dakasana airplane. So rather than taking the one-legged chair in your left leg, we start to stand back up on the left leg, but reach the right leg back in space. And then the chest shines forward like low cobra. It had a little bend into the elbow, so they're lifting up. Shoulder blades are toning in, fingers are extending back. Inhale, bring it to a one-legged mountain, just drawing your arms and your right knee up tall in space. And if you like, you can start to extend your right leg forward and then feel that lift up through your right thigh. Just imagine there's like a suitcase handle you can pull right up on it. Feel your thigh bone plug back in towards your body. So rather than falling back, if anything, it feels more like you're pressing forward. And on an exhale, we just bring the right foot to the ground. Bring your hands to your heart center to standing. Inhale to reach up tall through the body, lengthen. And on your exhale, cactus your arms and take a baby back bend. Inhale to reach back up into your mountain. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and just control your swan dive down into your forward fold. Inhale halfway up to lengthen through your spine. And then plant your hands and take your step into your plank. And again, your choice of how you're going to get to down dog, whether you go directly to it or lower halfway down, low cobra or up dog on the in-breath, and eventually making your way back to down dog on that out-breath. Take a couple rounds of breath in your down dog. And on your next exhale, we'll lower down onto our tabletop, and we're going to take that sequence on the other side. So when you're ready for it, from your tabletop, right leg extends back in space, and then left arm extends forward. Press back through your heel, point your toes down towards the ground, pinky down, thumb up on that left arm. And then again, right hand directly underneath your shoulder, pressing down to the ground, bicep spinned in. On your next exhale, just around the back, bring elbow and knee in. And then inhale, open back up. We'll take that again. So exhale, swim in, round the back. And as you inhale to open back up, we're going to leave the right leg extended, but then on your exhale, bring the left hand down to the ground. Tuck your left toes. Inhale, reaches your right leg back and up to a three-legged downward facing dog. And then you can press back through your right heel or press back through the ball of the right foot. Nice, strong diagonal line from your hands all the way back up through the foot. And again, just watching, we're not sinking down into that left hip. We're finding that support, that lift up out of it. On your next exhale, friends, just step the right foot up in between your hands to your low lunge. Once you've got the foot between the hands, drop the knife edge of your left foot to the ground, and your inhale takes you to your warrior two, left arm back, right arm forwards. Feel connected all the way into the knife edge of that left foot. So there's tone around that back left leg down into your foot. Spine up nice and tall, right sit bone underneath your body. And then opening through the arms, letting those shoulder heads just release down way behind you as you breathe. So breathe into it here, and on your exhale, we'll go into our extended side angle pose, rooting the right forearm to your right thigh as you lift up to your left arm. Letting that left hip find the same level that the right hip is on. Holding the strength in your legs, and then finding that strength of your inner right side body to the point where you could remove the right elbow from pressing to the right thigh and you would keep the shape of the pose. That's the kind of strength we have in that inner right side body. Awesome, friends. Inhale brings it back up to warrior two. And on your exhale, just reverse your warrior. So left hand to your hip thigh or behind you. Send that right arm up nice and tall. Choose where you're taking your gaze. If you came up out of your lunge, recommit into the depth of your lunge. Feel the press down into both of your feet, the knife edge of that left foot, all corners of your right foot, your thighs toning into center. And one more in-breath here, and then when your exhale comes, just cartwheel your hands down to your low lunge position. For standing splits, we're going to inhale the left leg up nice and tall as we stand on the right leg. Again, fingertips, fists, or palms rooted to the ground underneath your shoulders. And your gaze is behind you, so the crown of the head is pointing down. Your spine and head are they're in like a forward fold. And then press down, whether it's your fists, your fingers, or your palms, press down into the ground as if you're going to lift yourself up to a handstand. And watch as you're doing that press into the ground that you're not tightening up through the neck muscles. You can stay relaxed into your neck as you press down. Find that lift through your left leg. One more inhale lifts your left leg up. And on your exhale, you're going to connect your knees together. So your thighs, inside of the thighs are pressing together. And then praying monkey, this is our one-legged chair. We come up on the right leg. We're bent into that chair position. Your knees and your thighs are all pressed in, hands are at your heart, and then you're bending your left leg to pull your left heel up towards your sit bone, flexing those left toes down. And the key, right, is having those thighs pressing into center line, those knees pressing into center line. Slight lift up through your chest. And for Dakasana airplane, you'll breathe into praying monkey, and on the exhale, we'll reach back into airplane. So flying the arms back, flying your left leg back, playing with your balance. Focus your gaze out on something that's not moving. And then make your way to your one-legged mountain. So just lifting your arms, lifting your left knee up in space. Keep the left knee bent with that thigh bone plugging in, or You can extend your left leg forward as you continue to lift up through your left thigh and plug back in towards your hips. And then rather than leaning back in space, there's more pressure down into the ball of your right foot like you were pressing forward into your left leg. One more inhale lifts up. And on the exhale, friends, just bring the foot to the floor, hands into your heart center. Inhale to reach up into Tadasana Mountain. When your exhale comes, cactus the arms open, lift up through your heart. Inhale to reach back up, full length of your body, and swan dive, forward fold on the exhale. Okay, so inhale halfway up. Plant the hands, move to your plank and your choice of how you take your vinyasa. Meeting back in downward facing dog. And then we're going to take that sequence breath to movement. So when you're ready, lower down to your tabletop and we'll begin from there. Beautiful. Your right knee will stay to the ground. Your left hand will stay to the ground. And then on an inhale, left leg backwards, right arm forwards. And as you exhale, bring elbow, knee in, rounding spine. Inhale again, left leg back, right arm forwards. And on the exhale, bring it in and round. So we'll inhale to extend, leave the left leg up, exhale your right hand down. Tuck the right toes, inhale, left leg back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, low lunge, left foot between your hands. Your inhale is warrior two, so knife edge of the right foot to the ground. And on your exhale, extended side angle pose. Inhale, reverse your warrior, sweep the sky with the left arm. And on the exhale, cartwheel back into your low lunge position. Inhale, standing splits, right leg lifts. And on the exhale, just bring your knees and your thighs together. Your inhale is praying monkey, hands to heart, back right heel lifting to sit bone. Exhale, airplane, right leg back, arms back. Inhale, lift up to your one-legged mountain, option to extend right leg. And on the exhale, bring foot to the ground, hands to heart center. Inhale to reach up into mountain. And on the exhale, just cactus open, baby back bend. Inhale, reach back up into mountain. And on the exhale, hinge out from the hips and swan dive into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Plant the hands, move to your plank, and then your choice of how you're going to take your vinyasa, meaning up in downward facing dog. And we'll take the other side. So come down to your tabletop. This is where it's going to start from. And as you come down into your tabletop, we're going to leave the left knee down to the ground, and we're going to leave the right hand down to the ground. So on an inhale, reach your right leg back, left arm forwards. And as you exhale, round the spine, bring them in. Inhale, re-extend right leg back, left arm forwards. And exhale again, round and bring it in. Do one more inhale to swim open. Leave your right leg lifted. Exhale, left hand to the ground. Left toes are tucked. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Right leg lifts back and up. Awesome. Exhale, low lunge. Right foot up between your hands. Once you've got it, your inhale is to your warrior two. So knife edge the left foot to the ground. And then your exhale is your extended side angle pose. We've got the inhale just to go all the way to reverse warrior. So left hand behind you. Reach up through the right arm. And then exhale down to your low lunge position. Standing splits on your inhale, so left leg lifts. And as you exhale, bring your knees and your thighs to press together. Inhale, praying monkey, one-legged chair, hands to heart. And then exhale, airplane, standing up on the right leg, reaching left leg back, arms back. Inhale is one-legged mountain. You could extend your left leg forward if you like. And then on the exhale, find standing, left foot to the ground, bring hands into your heart. Inhale to reach up into mountain, and then when your exhale comes, just take that baby back bend, lifting through the heart, toning through the shoulders and core. Inhale to reach back up in space, and on the exhale, hinge out and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale halfway up. Plant the hands, step back into your plank. Take your vinyasa to downward facing dog, whatever it is. Breathe in on that down dog, and on the exhale, sigh out the mouth. Lower down to your knees, and then just swing the legs forward, dropping one of your hips to the ground. If you need a drink of water, you can grab a drink of water, and then we're going to meet up on our back and just do some work for our core muscles. So whenever you find yourself on your back, you can just bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your knees, and just give a little rock side to side. Nice, and then we'll just do this core work in 3 different places. And I'm going to do movement, and then hold, and the same movement. And I'm shooting for about 15 seconds on each of those. So we'll do like 45 seconds, and then rest, another 45, rest, another 45, all from different positions. First one, legs are straight up. Grab your hamstrings, lift your head and shoulders off the ground, gazes forward. And then when you're ready, just reach your arms forward. And the movement, you can go for this when you're ready. You just start to reach to your right and to your left. And if your neck needs support, I want you to throw one hand back behind the base of the skull with your elbow open wide. But keep that twist going through your side bodies. Perfect. For your hold, both arms are straight up, gazes forward. Again, if you need support, throw one hand back behind the base of the skull, elbow wide, lift through the other arm. Keep breathing. You got it. Nice, friends. Back to your side to sides, and we're going to take a rest after we do this. Three, two, one. You can relax your head down. You can take a reclined cobbler's pose, bringing the bottoms of the feet together, letting the knees open wide, relaxing the hands and the arms wherever it feels comfortable to you. And then just bringing in that deep, slow ujjayi breathing. Okay, for our next one, start at a reverse tabletop. So do the hands behind the base of your skull so your head and shoulders are lifted. Then have the knees bent at 90. Bring your feet together and then extend your legs so they're straight but on a diagonal, and then your low back is rooted. Okay, and then the movement, friends, are scissor kicks, so you can start these up. Do one leg up and one leg halfway down. Keep that breath going. You're doing awesome. Okay, we're going to hold the feet together. Low back is pinned into the mat. Okay, and back into it. You got it. Stay strong. Stay with your breath. Three, two, one. You could take a full morning stretch, just reaching your arms all the way back behind you, legs out in front of you. Rolling out the wrists, moving out your fingers and your toes. Nice. And then bring your knees in. Take your hands to your hamstrings. And you can rock once, twice, 3 times, whatever you want, up to your sit bones. And the next one that we're going to take is going to be at our boat pose, up at our sit bones. So once you're up, your heels are planted. Your feet are up in space. Grab your hamstrings and then lift your spine back and up and tone your shoulders in. Take the feet off the ground, cross your ankles, and then we can start to row our boat. So start to row to the sides. And exactly, you want to feel yourself opening left, opening right. Keeping that shape in our back and that support of your shoulders. We hold our Navasana boat pose, so uncrossing the ankles. You can always do the hands underneath the legs for support or open up. You can keep the knees bent or lengthen your legs out. Just feel those, again, those shoulder blades coming in. And they don't have to be like touching each other, but it's just that general movement with them. They're supporting us. Okay, last bit of movement. Go back into those rows. Cross through your ankles. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect, friends. Come back into your tabletop position and then just slide your legs all the way back into space. Drop your hips to the ground. Press into your elbows, into your forearms. Lift up through your chest. This is Sphinx pose. And find some length through the back of your neck. Tops of the feet can root to the ground. You could take your chin to the left or to the right to get into the sides of your neck. You could also drop the weight of the chin forward to get deeper into the back of your neck. And then if you need to slide back at all, have your fingertips right at the top of your mat, your middle fingertips. Bring those elbows right underneath your shoulders, root into your forearms so they're on parallel with one another. Root into the belly of the forearms and tuck your toes. Lift your hips up. And then we're going to walk this forearm plank into dolphin, bringing your toes closer up to your elbows, making that V shape, that A-frame, like down dog. And then your sternum is lifting back up towards your thighs. There's a lot of shoulder strength. Head is relaxed. So as you're lifting back and up, don't put the tension into your neck. Your head is relaxed. Your neck is relaxed. Right leg can lift up on an inhale to a 3-legged dolphin. Nice diagonal line from your forearms all the way up through that right leg. Stay with your breath. Right on. If right leg is lifted on an exhale, bring it down and switch things up. Take that left leg back and up. Nice, strong through the core. You got it. On an exhale, lower down. You can walk your feet back to your forearm plank, and then we're going to lower all the way down into beach pose. So just like you're laying out at the beach on your stomach, relax your chin down into your hands or to the ground, or your forehead down to your hands or to the ground. And then while you're here, bend your knees, pick your feet up, and start to circle out your ankles, windshield wiper your legs. Make your way to down dog through your plank or through your tabletop. Let the right leg lift up once you're there to 3-legged down dog. And on the exhale, open the hip and bend the knee, draping the toes down to the left as your knee lifts up. So watch that your left shoulder's not dipping or you're not spinning your left heel to the left. Stay really strong and even through your arms, through your shoulders, strong through that back leg, so you can really get the opportunity to open up through the hip here on the right leg. And then on an exhale, friends, just right foot up in between your hands, low lunge position. Drop the knife edge of the left foot to the ground, but this one's warrior one, so you can have your heels out a little bit wider on railroad tracks. And then in warrior two, your left foot's pointing right to the left. Maybe you have it point up a little bit more in space, bringing that left hip a little more forward. And then as you line your hips up, they're squaring towards the front of the room. We want to watch we're not rolling onto the inside edge of that back left foot. You're rooted into the knife edge of it. Arms come up nice and tall if they're not there yet. And then you can still feel that tone of your legs in towards center line. Beautiful. On your exhale, just swim your hands behind. Find your interlace at your knuckles. Find that grip and pull down as your chest lifts up. Elbows might even bend and lift backwards a little bit. And then bow into your humble warrior. Taking your right shoulder towards the inside of your right thigh. It could hover above it. It could rest onto it, or it can start to come towards the inside of it. Weight of your head just relaxed here. Feel that same strong grip to the ground that we had. Use the inhale to rise back up into your warrior one. And on your exhale, we're going to stand all the way up into our one-legged mountain. So bring in your arms and bringing that left knee with you. So second one-legged chair, this one's just that figure four. Your left ankle is going over the top of your right thigh. And you can bring your hands in towards your heart center, or one hand to your knee, one hand to your heel. And if this pose is not on the cards for you, I want you to find tree pose. So you could also bring your right foot inside of left thigh above your knee, or inside of left calf below your knee. But feel that opening through your hips. And then as we're focusing on the one-legged balance, right, you're working the gaze somewhere in front of you on an object that's not moving. You can, in this situation, flex your left toes back in towards your shin. You can let your left knee gently flex down. So it's a nice hip opener if you're in that figure four. Perfect, friends. Just rise back up into your one-legged mountain when you're ready. So just bring in your arms, your left knee with you. And on the exhale, you're going to swim all the way back into your low lunge position, tapping the hands down, tapping that left foot down. On an inhale, just reach your right leg back, three-legged plank. And then your choice of how you want to get to down dog. So you can take a flow, you can drop it halfway, low cobra or up dog, or just go directly into your down dog. Left leg lifts up this time on your inhale. And as you exhale, create that scorpion tail, so let your left toes drape down over to the right. Lift up tall through your right knee. Stay strong through your shoulders so that right shoulder's on level with your left. Watch where that back heel is pointing. We want it pointing directly back behind you. Lift up, and then from that scorpion tail on your next exhale, work the foot up between your hands. Find your low lunge position. For warrior one, you can already take the heels out a little bit wider. You can start to find the angle of that back right foot that feels good to you. And then feel into that lunge in that front left leg. And again, we're watching, we're not rolling onto the inside arch of that back right foot. We're pressing into the knife edge of it. And then that twist through our hips, extension up through our arms. When you're ready from here, on your exhale, just swim the hands back, interlace at your knuckles. Inhale the knuckles down as your chest lifts up. And exhale the bow forward. Find your humble warrior. So elbows might slightly bend and might slightly reach towards the front of the room as the knuckles extend up. Feeling into those shoulders right here, breathing into that stretch. Again, reminding the weight of your head just to relax all the way down. Inhale back up into your warrior one, and on your exhale, just reach that right leg back and up to our one-legged mountain. And then we've got our two options from here. So we can send that right ankle over your left thigh. So you can come into your figure four, your one-legged chair with hands to heart or one hand to knee, one hand to heel. If that's not in the cards for us today, we could take tree, pressing that right foot inside of your left thigh, above your knee, or inside of your left calf, below your knee. And again, feeling those hips opening up in space. If we're in that one-legged chair, really find the strength around your left knee. Find the strength all the way up through your left leg, all the way up even into your glute. Glute is a nice big muscle that pulls back and up away on our body when it's engaged. So it draws out of that knee. The way I think about it is when you're coming down into this kind of thing, that you're lowering into the engagement of the muscles, not just dropping the weight forward. Okay, and on an inhale, rise up, find your one-legged mountain. And as you exhale, you're going to do that swim. Come all the way back down into your low lunge. We can reach the left leg back on an inhale to your three-legged plank. And then last flow, however you want to get to your downward facing dog. Take that last full round of breath in down dog. And then bring your knees to the ground. Drop one of your hips to the floor. Bring your legs forward. And once you got your feet right up to the top of your mat, just leave your right leg extended and bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh, kind of like tree. Find the front edge of your sit bone, so I'm kind of scooching myself back a little bit, walking back a little bit. And then bring the right hand just a little bit out from the right hip and a little bit back, so I'm just press into it. Inhale your left arm up. And on your exhale, let your left hand reach out for the outside of your right calf, ankle, or foot. You could feel a little bit of a press down and forward through your right heel. And then your left leg can have some activity to it where your knee, you can feel your knee just pressing down and back, helping to bring the spine forward and out from your hips. And of course, working with that beautiful breath. Inhale your arms up tall in space. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your chest. So we can go onto our backs and we can take reclined pigeon, or from here to move into double pigeon. You're going to open your right leg up a little bit to the side, and then you're going to shift your left shin so that your left shin is parallel to the front and ends of your mat, and then it just fits to the sides of your mats. You'll grab your right leg from there and start to bring your right leg in towards you, cradling. And then we'll notch up the indentation on the outside of your ankle, between ankle bone and heel, just over the inside ridge of your left knee, over the inside ridge of your left thigh. And then that notches up just like that. From there, you can adjust your fire log. So this is double pigeon, also fire log pose. And once your fire logs are stacked and you're on the front edge of your sit bones, if there's a gap here and you've got a block or a blanket or a sweatshirt, you could slide it in. You could even do something like a water bottle where you slide it in and have a little bit of that downwards pressure holding it into place. Last thing that I'll talk about real quick is just we don't want the ankle collapsing in. You want the ankle nice and strong so you can flex your toes in and press out through your heel. Then your choice if you're staying upright or if you want to walk your hands out in front of you and take a little bit of a seated forward fold here. With that option, your right tricep might come down over onto the top of your right knee and just give a little bit of downwards pressure. And then one of the most important parts of the yoga practice, right, the key parts of the yoga practice is that relationship to breath while you're here. I think that's one of the hardest pieces to fully explain. Because ultimately it's just something that you get to experience and that you get to feel inside of your own body, inside of your own pose. So you can talk about it and you can think about it all you want, but ultimately it is something to be experienced. Fantastic, friends. So if you're on your back in reclined pigeon, you can bring yourself upright. If you are in that double pigeon fire log, we're going to take the legs out. And then just kind of a casual reset. I'm just kind of rolling the ankles out, pumping through the legs a little bit. And eventually we'll take that one-legged seated forward fold with your left leg extended, right foot inside of your left thigh, like tree pose. Find the front edge of your sit bones. Press your left hand out and back from your left hip. Inhale your right arm up. And on the exhale, hinge out and connect to the outside of your right leg, ankle, or foot. And then you can always add or subtract that bend in your left knee as you need to. Think about your gaze going down, crown of the head reaching forward, left heel pressing down and forward, and then your right knee or your right leg pressing down and back. Finding those inhales, finding those exhales. Inhale brings us up tall, stretch through the arms. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your chest. You can take the other side of reclined pigeon on your back, left ankle over your right thigh, or for our double pigeon fire log, left leg swings out, center the right shin to the sides of your mat, parallel to the ends of your mat. And then we can grab that left leg and just give a little cradle, a little hug in, and then you make that notch when you're ready. So outside of your ankle, over the inside ridge of the knee or thigh. Fire logs get stacked, so we readjust the sit bones. Find that flexion of your toes in towards your shin. Remember, we don't want the left ankle to collapse in. We want to keep it strong. That's the fulcrum point that then your left knee is drawing down from. Staying upright is fantastic as you breathe, or arms out in front of you and just giving a little bit of a press downwards. And all of this, right, is the degree that it works for us, the degree that we can. This is about finding your posture. And from there, it won't look like everybody else's. You find that balanced level of sensation, that point where you're engaged inside of the pose, you're engaged in the stretch, but you're not underdoing it or overdoing it. A balanced place is where you've got room for that breath. And if you were on your back in reclined pigeon, you can stay there. And from our double pigeon, our fire log, we just uncross, and then we'll make our way down onto our backs. And just relax the weight of your head once you get down. You can draw your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around the knees, around the shins, and just give a little side to side rock with the weight of the head relaxed. Let's take bridge pose just with the feet to the ground, your heels stepped back to you where they're underneath your knees so your fingers could touch them if you reached your arms down along your sides. And then pressing down into your triceps so your elbows could be bent at 90 with your hands reaching up. We lift the hips off the ground, and then the shoulder blades can come in a little bit closer towards one another, helping to lift up the hips higher. Feel rooted into all corners of your feet, the feet on parallel at hip bone distance. And working with your breathing. One more in-breath into it. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, release down, find happy baby. Take the peace sign fingers to your big toes or the hands to the inside or outside edges of your feet. Let your knees open wide. Stack the ankles above the knees so the feet are the bottoms of your feet are pointing to the sky. And then as you pull down on the frame, try to get your hips as close to the ground as you can and just give a little side to side rock. Left leg flat out in front of you. Hug your right knee up towards your right shoulder. And then we'll take a reclined spinal twist. So left hand grabs your right knee and pulls down to the left. Feel yourself rolling onto the outside edge of your left hip. And then take the twist where your right arm reaches to the right. And then you turn your gaze over your right shoulder. And let your right shoulder come towards the ground. Pressing into the ground or making its way towards that position. Easy breathing. Nice. Roll on to your back. We're going to switch that out. Just taking your right leg forward, flat out in front of you. Hugging your left knee in towards your shoulder. And then letting the right hand pull your left knee down over to the right. Left arm to the left and your gaze out across the fingertips. Letting those exhales just release you slightly deeper into your twist. Nice. Bring your knees back in. This is your final just hug of your knees, neutralizing the spine, just taking a little rock. And then we're going to open into our final resting pose, our corpse posture, our shavasana. So just lengthening the legs out in front of you, letting your arms relax at your sides. Weight of the head releases. You can close your eyes and just let your body take back over on the breathing. We're here for just a couple of minutes. Just slowly bring life back to your body, moving your fingers, your toes, ankles, and wrists. Stretch your arms tall overhead. And roll the weight of your body onto your side into a fetal position. Take your air all the way out. And then fill into low belly, low back, mid-abdomen and mid-back, chest and shoulders. Relax around the full breath. And then exhale to release it out. We'll meet in a cross-legged position or whatever pose you'd like to end your class with. If you're in your cross-legged position, you can just find the front edge of your sit bones. A final inhale to extend your arms wide and reach tall. And then exhale to bring your hands down into your heart center. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether it is clear to you or not, no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love. Namaste.